Okay, hello everybody. My name is Jake Bolam. This is ISA 4220. And today we're going to be talking about IMAP and DNS. Okay, so what is IMAP? IMAP stands for Internet Message Access Protocol. It's a message retrieval tool that provides the ability to store and fetch messages. The email is copied to the user's device and saved to the email service provider server, allowing for access to multiple devices. It doesn't always need to be connected to the internet and offers more capabilities than POP, as well as more admin controls. So POP is an offline tool where IMAP is both used online and offline. It goes through port 143. Microsoft Outlook, in this example, it connects and syncs to all your devices associated with the account that you allow. So, unlike POP, which pushes the information from the server into the device, a single device, and then deletes off the server, IMAP keeps it on the server, and then it can sync to multiple devices. So, if you have Microsoft Outlook, for example, you sync up your cell phone, your laptop, your tablet, all to Microsoft Outlook, you're going to get an email, and it's going to shoot it to all your devices. Let's say you access Microsoft Outlook for a computer that you don't have synced up to it. Well, because it's on the server, you can go back through. Gmail is another example. With that being said, you can go ahead and you have different tools, different things you can use to access your information through the server. But with that, since it's an also offline tool, if you have to send a message and say you're trying to use it offline, well, you can, number one, read your message offline because it automatically sends it to your phone or whatever else you had. Number two, if you also didn't have the internet connection, you can shoot that stuff and it put into a basically an outgoing box until you did connect it. You did get connected, and it will automatically send it out to you. IMAP-S is basically IMAP, but over a secure socket layer, and that uses port 4993. The downfall with IMAP, like POP3, is because even though it has more controls and admin access, because it's stored on a server, it can be kind of vulnerable. Where POP3S, once it's off the server, once it's downloaded, it's off the server. Because it can be on multiple devices. If one device is compromised, then it's better or worse than all devices compromised. So say you lose your phone and someone was able to get into your phone, but you have it on all your other devices. If that device gets compromised, because it syncs to everything, they can access it with your tablet. Say I left my tablet in the airport and they were able to get a hold of that. Because if it's not secure, then they can access the information. If they were able to get into that tablet, they're able to see all the emails and see all the information I had stored in that server or that was downloaded to that device. So it does have that type of downfall. With Dovecode is basically the Linux, is the highest and best performing IMAP server for Linux. It meets all the standards for IMAP protocol and PO3 requirements, and to make sure that all authentication methods is a self-resolving system. So if there's an error within the system, it goes ahead and tries to figure out what's going on, while you're asleep or whatever. It tries to figure out what's going on to fix it before and retry the process. It has four main processes. It's the master process, and then it has the logging process, the authentication process, and the mail process. So it's pretty extensive in the layers it goes through to be able to access the information and make sure whoever's accessing is actually accessing it, has required access to access it. For the hardening, you always want to keep it up to date. You want to use port 4993 and use IMAPs, which is, like I said earlier, port 993 is through IMAPs. So you want to make sure you're using port 993 and making sure you're going through an IMAP server because it encrypts the transmissions that emits. And then you always want to make sure you enable your secure socket layers and password protect them with the key file. If you're using IMAPs, secure socket layers should always already be there because it makes sure they're authenticated and valid. Alright, for DNS, DNS stands for Domain Name Service. It basically translates a computer's domain name to an IP address. It's a giant phone book that a computer uses to map host names to IP addresses. So everything you have has an IP address. Even your cell phone has an IP address. Your tablet has an IP address. The only thing I think was like your pager back then doesn't have one. As far as I know, your PlayStation has an IP address. It allows you to connect to another computer or network or remote device using an IP address. So my computer talked to another computer, my computer talked to the server to get to a website. My computer can even now talk to TVs, and vice versa. So that's where we're trying to figure out, okay, where do URLs come from? Well, URLs are for users that identify the website. Because there's so many IP addresses, it's hard to keep our minds wrapped around them. URLs are translated in English instead of numbers to make it easier for us. So every URL is so that the host or so that the user can connect to a website. A human user can connect to a website, whereas the IP address is what the computer connects to the website. And then there's resource records, which adds and posts names to their IP address. So that's also something DNS does. For Windows, Access Server Manager is modular. It allows an admin to pick and choose what features they want to allow. So the admin has pretty good control over it. It can be role-based or feature-based when installing. Linux, what we're using for Linux is called Bind. It's Berkeley Internet Name Domain. It's an open source software that allows you to publish your DNS information on the internet and resolve DNS issues for users. So for hardening for Windows, you want to make sure the Windows IIS is hardened, as we explained earlier in the previous presentation. You want to restrict zone transfers. You kind of want to watch what's going in and watch the information going out. And you want to utilize the ACLs, the active directories. For hardening for Linux, only make available what you need to be available. Ensure that the DNS servers have at least one other secondary, so if it fails, another can take its place, so workflow is not interrupted. So you're gonna have your main server, and then you're gonna have your secondary server. So if that one goes down, the other one can pick up what was left and continue on with the work. You want to restrict the access. So zone transfers should be protected by the control list and the ACLs. The primary server should be hidden and not accept or show responsive to DNS queries. Also, you want to put them behind a firewall to ensure that only queries going through are from the secondaries. That's your secondary's first line. So, in other words, it's kind of hidden in the back. No one ever gets to kind of see it. If you have information that goes through your secondary, the secondary kind of refers only to the primary for all the master databases and all the where all the rules and everything's set. That sends information to that, and then your primary sends it back to your secondary. Now, you don't want outside queries to be going into your primary. You want to keep primary completely separate, so that way only your secondary is the ones that can have access to that, and not your primary. Thus, it's going to make it a little more secure. Okay, and that's our video presentation on Imap and DNS. Have a great day.